Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker. Look, y'all, in the first episode of One Bad Relationship Will Ruin Your Life, I was telling you about this guy that I met years ago named DB. This guy, he presented himself as somebody that had it all together. He was making money. Again, let me emphasize one thing. He was getting it in the streets. So just so that you understand, I'm not trying to say that somebody that's getting it in the streets is somebody that's got it all together. That's not what I'm trying to say. That's not what I'm even implying. What I'm saying is this, from the outside looking in, he appeared to be the type of person that you would want to be around. And if you were a female, he appeared to be the type of person that you would want to be with if you were into bad guys. You know what I'm saying? And he met this woman that came from a world that he had no knowledge about but always wanted to be a part. That world would be separate from his world, and that would be his refuge. But like all people that continue to dwell in that place where you're getting your money in ways that cause harm to other people, you want to find a place where you can get away from that for a while. And that's what this woman brought to him. See, the woman thought that she was getting a person that she would want to be with for the rest of her life, somebody that she wanted to be in a relationship with. But what she didn't know is that DB needed her more than she needed him. And the problem for her became the more DB stayed around. Again, DB is a parasite. DB is a very insecure guy that needs other people to make him feel good about who he is. Now, these things that happened to DB to make him feel that the way he felt about himself, that didn't happen when he started selling dope. This happened way before, when he was a child. The trauma, the things that he went through as a child that shaped his mindset led him to be the type of person that he is. What were those types of things? Growing up in a neighborhood where he didn't get the type of attention that he needed from his parents. Growing up in a neighborhood where anything goes. Growing up in a household where there were no boundaries set. Those types of things that would have allowed him to maneuver and experiment in life and function in a way that where he would try something, learn a lesson, try again. But in the environment that he grew up in, where he would try something, nobody stepped in to stop him, he would keep pushing the envelope. And what he learned by watching all the people around him, parents included, was that I can do anything that I want to do. I can do anything that I want to do. Nobody's going to figure out who I really am. As long as I'm good enough at the story that I tell, meaning the lies that I tell, and as long as I look the part, then that's all that matters. See, a lot of people have this understanding of life now where all that matters is that you win. Doesn't matter how you win. And DB was one of those people way back in the day. So here's the thing. He's got this girlfriend that he has attached himself to like a parasite and drained everything that was good about her out of her. Now she has a habit that is forcing her to not be the person that she wants to be, not showing up to work, not being the type of person that her parents raised her to be. But what she is doing, she's being the person that DB has created. She's being the person that type of lifestyle turns you into. The lifestyle of using drugs and getting high and thinking you can handle it because it makes you feel good the first or the second time. The lifestyle of not being a responsible person. The lifestyle of allowing somebody to tell you what to do, even if it goes against the morals and the principles that you were raised against. The lifestyle that lets you feel like, you're getting something, but you're really being robbed and taken for granted. she had jumped head first into this lifestyle. Why? Because she wanted to please DB. And as a parasite, DB was more than happy to accommodate her. See, this is what happens when you're involved with somebody that is insecure, somebody that presents themselves one way and you not taking the time to really see. See, when you first meet somebody and you get involved in a relationship or you're thinking about being in a relationship with them, what you're supposed to do is that get to know them. That's what that period is for. Get to know them. Getting to know does not mean becoming involved. It's getting to know. And if you get to know, you take your time and get to know, you may discover that there's something about this person that don't click for you. Don't click for you. But see, the problem with this situation was this. Something clicked for her with DB. Something clicked for her. What was it? What has she been through in her life that made her believe that this would make her feel whole? Something is missing. Something is missing in her life because she presented herself. It's like she had it all together. And I'm going to tell you something. You never know about people, y'all. You never know. And you won't know if you don't take the time to try to get to know them. So she was open to what he was saying because she was trying to please. She was overly eager to please. And he was more than happy to take advantage. And he did. And now all of a sudden, we got a situation where she's a full-fledged drug addict. But what DB didn't know is that like all addicts, most addicts, I'll say, if I can't get it from one source, I'll get it from another. One of the people that DB had come to trust had slipped her his phone number. And he told her, get at me. Because see, like a lot of people that might work with you or under you, they start to develop jealousy and envy towards you. And they start to think that what you have is part of that recipe for success. And then they want it. But here's the problem. What he thought he wanted was not that. Now, even though she was an addict, he still saw something about her worth having. Part of that was because DB had her. You feel me? And then her desire to please played a role in her taking that number. Yes, she's an addict, and she took it because she wants to get high. But she still has that desire to please, and by being someone that pleases others, that made her feel good. And DB wasn't making her feel too good no more. He had become a source of her pain and destruction. But he didn't care nothing about that. Nothing at all. So here's what happened, y'all. Let me go on and tell you. I ain't going to keep y'all on the hook on this one. This is what happened. One day, DB comes home and he finds her in the house with this dude that works with DB, not necessarily for him, but you know, he's not getting bread like DB, but he finds her in the house with dude. Now, DB starts calling her all kind of B's and H's, talking all out of his head to her. And this dude says, nah, hold up, wait a minute. Why are you treating her like this? Why are you talking to her like that? So what does a man do? Well, and I use that term loosely with DB and the dude that's with him, but you know what I'm trying to say. When a man is called out or challenged in front of his woman, what do you think he's going to do? He looks at dude and he said, why do you care? Why you care what I do, what I say with her? She's mine. Ain't got nothing to do with you. And dude says, y'all, she don't deserve to be treated like that. Wait a minute. Hold up. That's personal. That shows somebody cares about somebody or they want it to look that way. Because trust me, he's no different than DB. He's no different. He just sounds different. He's doing the same thing that DB is using. He's trying to find what he thinks is that recipe for success. He's trying to find that refuge that will let him relax. That neighborhood that they live in, he liked that. That house that they lived in, that apartment rather, he liked that. He liked the trappings of the life that DB had set up for himself on the other side of town. It looks good to him. It doesn't matter that she's an addict. It looked good to him, and he wanted to be a part of that. So what does he do? He sets out to take her. So him and DB get to fighting. But I'm going to tell you something. DB got them hands, y'all. Put him down. Put him down. Knocked him out. And he's laying there in the floor. And she's just sitting there looking silly, not knowing what to do. Not knowing what to do. So DB, he already knocked dude out. So he starts to put hands on her. And I'm talking about, when I say beating her, y'all, he's beating her. He's beating her. See, a lot of people have this misunderstanding that a lot of people that are accused or commit domestic violence against women, they can't fight. I thought that. But I'm going to tell you something. This dude here can fight. He's not a coward. He's just insecure. And I said that because I want you to understand the mold don't fit everybody. It's not a cookie cutter type thing. This dude could hold his own. And he beat this woman, beat her, and she laid on the floor next to the dude that had stood up for her. He's laying there knocked out, snoring, y'all, tripping. And now she's gotten beaten, and she's laying there too. But see, he beat her worse than he beat dude. Why did he do that, y'all? Why did he beat her like that? Because DB is a parasite. And she was the source for him. See, a parasite attaches itself to a host, drains them of everything that they have, right? And when they're no longer useful, what do? They detach themselves and go on about their business. And this is what DB was doing. She served no purpose for him anymore. He beat her within an inch of her life and left her on the floor with this guy that wanted her unconscious. So the guy wakes up. He sees her laying in the floor. He panics, but he don't run. He tries to revive her. He calls the 911. They come get her. She's okay. Now she's in the hospital, badly beaten, bones broken, jaw broken. You understand? Jaw broken. Now here come the police. Here come the police. It's time for DB to pay the piper. All this old tough talk and all this. So they ask her what happened. And she's afraid, but she tells them. Because she's embarrassed. And she thinks that because she's been using drugs, that they're going to get her. But that's not what they were concerned about. She had been assaulted, violently beaten. They didn't want to hurt her. They wanted to help her. And once they calmed her down, she told them how she met him, what happened from A to Z. And as they listened, these detectives were different. This group of detectives, they dealt with domestic issues. As they listened to her story, they called the narco detectives, the people that deal with drug dealers, right? They called them so that they could share in this situation and get the information that they might need. And turns out that they had heard of DB. He's got quite the reputation. He's climbing the ladder, you know what I'm saying, in the streets, as far as the dope game is concerned. So when they get the information that they needed about DB in regards to him beating this woman, they issue a warrant for his arrest for domestic assault. And they go get him. Wasn't hard to find him. He doesn't go anywhere. Like most dope boys, they stay in the area, you know what I'm saying, most of their lives. They might go to the Super Bowl. They might go to football games and travel and take some trips. But they always, what? Come back home. They always come back home because they're afraid to venture out, separate themselves from the area that they're in. It's their hunting ground. They don't want to leave that. So when they went to get him, they question him. He denies it, of course. There is no proof of him beating her other than her body beaten within an inch of her life. That's it. The dude is on the floor knocked out. You understand? So he didn't see what happened to her. It's her word against his. And I'm going to tell you, it's a tight fight with a short pipe when it comes to that, right? So here's the thing. They go to court. She gets up on the stand and she tells the jury what he did because DB took it to trial. He's like, look, I didn't do nothing. I didn't do nothing. They didn't have any DNA, nothing to connect him to the situation. You feel what I'm saying? He had on gloves when he beat her. They didn't find no gloves when they went to get him. He's not stupid. He got rid of them. You know? His hands were not swollen. Nothing about him was that they could connect. Nothing about him was open to the fact that they could connect him to what had happened to her. Nothing. Nothing. So it was her word against his. And when she got on that stand and she told that jury what had happened, it was 7 men, 5 women, from my understanding. They found him guilty. They found him guilty. Give him 8 years in the penitentiary. Now, they didn't charge him with any drug charge. They charged him with domestic abuse, domestic assault. Sent him to the penitentiary. No, it wasn't 8 years. I think it was 6. I want to be right here. I want to be right. But anyway, they sent him to the penitentiary. He's up at the penitentiary and boom, boom, boom. That's when I meet him. And then he starts to tell me his story. And that's when, it starts to get real thick. And that's what I'm finna get into right now. Here's the thing. When I met him because he was on the phone all the time, yelling, cussing, screaming at some woman. Right? See, the woman that testified against him, he was done with her. But it was another woman in his life now. He had come up with her. How is it that somebody in the penitentiary for beating a woman can so easily come up with another? How is that, y'all? Why is that? And I'm going to tell you why. Because, see, when you're in the penitentiary, you have an opportunity to start all over. When you're on the phone, see, they don't initially, in the beginning parts of the relationship, now they don't see the animal that you are, right? And depending on the circumstances, it might take a month. In some cases, it might take a year before you ever see them at visit. It just depends on the circumstances. So you have all this time to talk to them on the phone and capture their heart. And that's what DB did. His reputation on the streets, the money that he had, and his mouthpiece. He pulled them. He pulled one. Now he's got somebody that he's in a relationship with that really don't know him. But the twist comes when his ex, the one that he tried to kill, in my opinion, finds out that he's got a girlfriend. Oh my goodness, what a twist in the story that is. What a twist in the story that is. Now y'all think I'm going to tell you, right? You think I'm going to tell you about the twist in the story. You think I am, don't you? You hope I do, don't you? Well, all right, I'm going to go on and tell you. I ain't going to do it because some of y'all been saying, quit doing us like that, Joe. Quit doing it. So this time, I'm going to go on and tell you about this part, right? She finds out that DB's got a girlfriend. So she gets in touch with her on Facebook, right? Well, yeah, she gets in touch with her on Facebook because Facebook was around at this time, at the early stages. She gets in touch with her on Facebook. Oh, my God. Tells her what? Tells her, look, this man is dangerous. Leave him alone. Leave him alone. Leave him alone. So now, DB gets confronted by Gal. She loves him, but she confronts him. She said, I heard from such and such and such and such, and she told me that you were in prison because you tried to beat her to death. He denies it. Now, this gal here, she's not hip to what she could really do to find out what's going on. See, that's what a lot of women are not. They don't really know how they can find out what a person is really in prison for and how long they're there. You see what I'm saying? All they got to do is go on the Department of Correction website and type in that person's name and number if they have it, and then you'll get to see what it is. You feel me? But she didn't know that. All she had to go on was DB's word, that that's not what happened. He explained that they got into a fight. He explained that. But he didn't explain to her that he beat her. He says that she fell and hit her head. He says that he's the one that took her to the hospital. He says he's the one, that sat by her side day and night. All lies. All lies. But she didn't have anything to balance it against. Nothing. So now she's listening to this woman say all of these bad things about the person that she's fallen in love with over the phone. Nothing to compare it to. So now she's saying in her mind, like a lot of women do. Now y'all keep it real with me now, women out there. Don't get mad at me for what I'm about to say. And if I'm saying anything wrong, hit me up in the comment sections on YouTube and tell me, Joe, you out of line, you out of line. Let me know if I'm out of line with what I'm getting ready to say. See, what a lot of women will do when you get caught in a situation like that, you'll start to say that the ex is mad because she ain't got him no more. That's what you say. She mad, she ain't got him, and I got him. That's what they say. You feel what I'm saying? No. She was just trying to look out for another woman. So his current girlfriend ignored that. She ignored it. But here's what happened when you're dealing with a parasite. Now, they go to visits now and all this and that by the time I met him and all this and that. And like I say, I met him because he was yelling on the phone one day, right? But I had to give you a little bit of background on, the situation how they got to that point. See, as a parasite, which is what DB is, he felt threatened, right? He felt threatened by what his ex-girlfriend had told his current girlfriend. So people like that are insecure, narcissistic, when they feel threatened, they start to attack. They attack you. So he attacked the one person that was with him, that loved him, his current girlfriend. Threw her off balance. See, it goes back to in the first episode when DB smacked his first girlfriend that first time. See, that was a smack in her face, the current girlfriend, yelling at her, putting her in check. You feel me? Because she had become dependent on DP. See, she wasn't like the first girl, had her own money, own job. See, this one here, she was a dime piece, as they say. But she didn't have too much going for her by way of taking care of herself. So she was dependent on him, making runs for him, all this and that. Because he still had that bread. So when he would yell at her, call her out of her name, mistreat her, she would accept it. And see, when you're a parasite, that's why you push like that. You want to see how much they'll accept. How far will they let you push them? And she let DB push her to the limit. I'm talking about to the limit. But whoa, wait a minute. Something else happened. See, you got to always keep in mind, when you're mistreating your girl, especially if you're in the penitentiary, when you're mistreating your girl, sometimes when you're not mistreating, but especially when you're mistreating your girl, somebody, especially if they look good, especially if they're willing, especially if they're alone, you understand? Somebody will say a nice thing to them when you can't. Meaning they might be at the grocery store. Hold up, wait a minute. Don't get mad at me. They might be at the gas station. Anywhere out there in the world, they might run into somebody at any time during the day or night, and they might say a kind word to them. And it might be that very same day, minutes before, that you talk crazy to them. And that's what happened with DB. One of those days he was talking crazy. So as soon as she got off the phone, she met somebody that told her that she looked good and they hoped that she was having a good day. And for that brief second, she forgot about DB. Just for a little bit, a few seconds. Because it felt good to her to hear somebody say, I hope you're having a good day, man. You're looking good. Made her feel good to hear that because DB, he'd been slacking in his macking. He hadn't been doing that. He wants to go hard like a parasite does. But here's the thing. Let me get back to DB. Let me get back to DB. He's been through so many women. He can tell in the tone, the mannerism. Because keep in mind, I'm going to tell you something about people that are in prison for beating women, right? They are very good at picking up on cues because they're so insecure. They pay close attention to what you say, what you don't say, and how you act. You feel me? They pay very close attention to that. And in this situation, he was paying attention to what his current girlfriend was doing. She was acting a little funny. So now, what happens when somebody that's weak, like a parasite, feels threatened? They either attack, I told you that before, or they reevaluate and come back another way. So he reevaluated. He said, okay, wait a minute. I shot off on her. Then after I shot off on her, she been changing. Okay, he's thinking. He knows. He ain't slow. She must have met somebody. Somebody told her something. He's not sure, but somebody lifted her up. It could have been a family member. You know, he's gaming it out, right? It could have been a family member. Could have been a stranger. Could have been somebody that she knows from her past. But somebody has gotten in the way of him being a parasite, sucking everything from her. You feel what I'm saying? And his influence on her. Somebody has gotten in the way. Somebody has disrupted that. So he has to find a way to reattach himself so he can continue to drain this woman. That's what he has to do. And the only way he thought that he could do that is be nice. Be the guy that got her heart. And that's what he did. But you know what it is, y'all. It's a trick. It's a trick. And if you want to hear how tricky it is, you're going to have to catch me on the next episode. You feel me? You know I was going to do it sooner or later. We got to get to the next episode. Y'all know what this is. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate y'all. Y'all family to me. For real. Y'all, I appreciate you. Hit me up in the comment section. Tell me how, Joe, you shouldn't have done this. I appreciate all of that. You feel what I'm saying? But check this out. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.